We are back with a recap of the Blue Jackets losing to the Penguins 1-4 in Pittsburgh in a not very well attended game. I'm going to talk about the game, but this is going to be more of a general assessment kind of video because honestly, the game was pretty much a rerun of every Blue Jackets Penguins game as it seems to be as of late. TLDR, the Blue Jackets start off ball of fire. They get a goal from Johnny Gaudreau in the first minute off of a nice neutral zone feed from Patrik Laine. And the Penguins are sluggish throughout the entire first period. The Blue Jackets are all over them. They're getting more chances, although Tristan Jarry does limit the goals to just the one. And they end the first period up 1-0. Everything's looking fine. And then the Penguins wake up and decide to play hockey. And the Blue Jackets have no real answer. Pittsburgh scoring 3 goals in the second period. Those first 2 within a minute of each other. So the regularly scheduled breakdown in the second period against the Penguins. I don't really care about whether or not a goal or whatever was goalie interference. I don't even know if there was enough on either goal, that the one that was challenged and the one that wasn't, to even warrant a goaltender interference. And if there's any question of a doubt of whether it was or wasn't, the refs are usually going to just let the goal stand. Just stop letting the Penguins be so close to the net. I mean, that seems to be kind of the issue there, where the Penguins are just surrounding Elvis in his crease, and they're not really being moved out in time. Jack Roslovic getting benched for the third period after a really bad, weird spinorama pass going for an icing. I think he deserved that one, and it was a justified benching. In the third period, the Jackets do show signs of life. They're getting some decent chances, but Tristan Jarry up to the task last night. Johnny Gaudreau was double shifting, and we even saw some Kent Johnson at center action. That's something we like to see. But the power play was horrible last night. There were 3 power plays that they had with 0 shots on goal. I don't see why you could have Laine and Johnny Gaudreau on the power play, and they don't generate 1 shot. They don't make the goalie make 1 save on that. Again, this is where we kind of get to the general stuff of it, and I do think some of the call-ups, and especially Kirill Marchenko, he was only the call-up. Trey Fix-Wolansky being sent down to Cleveland after he scored a bunch in the AHL and then showed a lot of nothing. Tim Burney also making his NHL debut, replacing Jake Christensen. Tim Burney was all right. He definitely looked better than Jake Christensen, who I thought was, he definitely had some rough moments in the lineup with the Blue Jackets, and eventually he just got pulled. And Tim Burney looked fine out there. Kirill Marchenko, I do think he put himself in some good positions. He obviously didn't get on the scoreboard, but I thought he didn't look out of place, and he made himself available for chances often enough that I thought it was fine that he was in there. The more this season goes on, I feel like the Blue Jackets are just going to, by the time the season is half over, it will be very clear that this team is not a playoff team, especially as currently constructed with the injuries. Even at full health, it's very unclear. It's more likely than not that the Blue Jackets are still missing the playoffs, even if they're at full strength. So hopefully the younger players will get more ice time as Brad Larson and the Blue Jackets organization, because Brad Larson's always going to try to win hockey games however he can. And if he feels that, most hockey coaches are going to feel safer playing the more veteran guys more minutes. But I feel like if the organization kind of lets him know that, this is obviously not working out, this is going to be a developmental year starting, I think this is still early on in the season, so Brad Larson and the organization are probably trying to get as many wins now. But I feel like if it's by the turn of the calendar year, I think it's going to be very obvious. It's already obvious now, but it's going to be undeniable that this team is going nowhere this season. You might as well play the young kids and see what you have if you play them for a lot of minutes. Hopefully we'll see more of Kent Johnson at center. I know they kind of went to it because Jack Roslovic was benched, but hopefully even with Roslovic in the lineup, we see Kent Johnson getting some minutes at center, because the organization likes to tell us that they drafted 2 really good centers a couple years ago, one of them being Cole Sillinger and the other being Kent Johnson. And Kent Johnson is not going to become a center by playing wing for the entirety of his younger years as an NHL player. He's going to have to play some center sometime eventually. So hopefully that becomes more of a thing we see as the season gets more and more lost in the woods. And hopefully we see guys like Sillinger and Yegor Shchinnikov start getting more minutes. I understand for Sillinger, he hasn't really done much to earn minutes, but I feel like you can point to the team and how it struggled and just kind of think, well, whoever we're giving minutes to now, not a whole lot of it is working besides the top line. The top line of Gaudreau, Laine, and Boone Jenner has looked dominant at times. It's looked very good. I still think Boone Jenner probably isn't the ideal top-line center, but he's the only one performing at even. He's the best performing center that we have at the moment, with Jack Roslovic being bad. Jack Roslovic right now, we've seen the good and the bad from him, and Jack Roslovic right now is slumping pretty hard, and Cole Sillinger going through a pretty dramatic sophomore slump. Boone Jenner is kind of the 1C by default, and he has been, as of late, he's been doing a pretty good job of it. Again, I'm just worried that maybe, like we saw last season, how much effort on that back is going to, eventually will it go out again like it did last year where he just can't play anymore. Hopefully it doesn't happen for him, but yeah, I just feel like this loss to the Penguins is kind of something we've seen at this point. I just kind of wanted to talk about something that might actually be applicable later on in the season, other than just like, oh, well, the Blue Jackets played the Penguins and lost, because that's kind of how these games have been going so far. So thank you for watching. If you made it this far, let me know if you have something to say in the comments. Drop a subscribe if you haven't already and liked the video. I will see you at the next one.